And this is something I think you will understand. Harder Than the Rock, the story of Cimarons. This is a documentary by Mark Warmington, 5 years in the making, which uncovers the remarkable, and I have to say largely forgotten and overlooked story of Cimarons, who were the band who became known as the backbone of British reggae. Their sound was Jamaican, but they were apparently the UK's first indigenous reggae band. Here's a little clip of the trailer.
Growing up in northwest London, Harlesden, in the 70s and 80s, it could have been mistaken for the Caribbean or even Africa. I mean, you could have been in Coronation Market, Jamaica. And you'd also be seeing the people, hearing the conversations in the street, be smelling the food.
Musically, there were dances every week. House dances, blues dances, maybe 2 or 3 in the area.
And on Friday, Saturday night, you just get dressed, walk down the road, you listen. And you can hear the sound system pumping away. Because those days, sound system was really the thing. And when you get there, it's good vibes, you know. You can buy a drink, you can buy food, and then you dance all night, you know what I mean?
You see, I'm sorry, I could just carry on listening to that just for the rest of the show.
Let's just keep playing that instead.
And what was also lovely is because your head was not, as soon as that started, your head started nodding along.
Absolutely.
So as session musicians, they were Trojan. They backed the likes of Jimmy Cliff, Dennis Brown. When Bob Marley came to Britain, the first tour of Britain, he was backed by Cimarons, not by the Wailers, but by Cimarons, recorded with Lee Scratch Perry. Had a #1 hit in Jamaica, which is, extraordinary for UK-based band. Then during the kind of the punky reggae rock against racism era, shared the bill with bands like Clash, Sham 69, Generation X. And then in a really sort of weird twist, let me just tell you, do you know Cimarons? Is that a name that rings a bell with you?
Not really. No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I felt exactly the same. I was watching this incredible story unfold and thinking, why don't I know this story already? Anyway, apparently they caught the eye of Paul McCartney because Linda McCartney was a very big reggae fan. And they ended up making an album of Paul McCartney covers done in a reggae style called, I think, Reggaeability. And there's a little bit of them doing Mull of Kintyre in a reggae style, which is very, very strange. Anyway, so the doc traces their original story, which is really fascinating because they played on everything, then catches up with the band years later, now older, perhaps wiser, preparing to play again. And it's a terrific doc. Firstly, it tells you a story that you can't quite believe you didn't know because there's loads of great archive and loads of great photographs and recordings. But then it also sort of has this, the archive is really interesting because the music is infectious. If you love reggae, you'll absolutely love this. But the more modern stuff is also really moving because they're coming back together again. And they're facing, age and the fact that things have moved on, the world has changed, and they're trying to get together to play again. And I suppose in the same way as something like 6 Feet from Stardom, it's the story of musicians who made some of the most memorable music, yet somehow managed to just miss out on the spotlight. And the reunion footage is like joyous and very poignant because obviously there's the spectre of loss hanging over the rehearsals. But I think the central theme of the doc is resilience, the camaraderie of playing together, the defiance of this music, the joy of, bringing reggae to the world and to a new audience. Anyway, I thought it was great. Harder Than the Rock. It's, as I said, story of Cimarons, and it'll be in independent cinema, so you'll have to seek it out, and they'll be doing Q&As and that sort of thing. But I think you'll love it, Simon. I think as a music DJ, as the nation's leading and most favoured music DJ, I think you will absolutely love it.
The nation's #1 entertainer is what my brother calls me. So, somewhat ironically.
Your brother's always had a sarcastic side.
Yeah, absolutely. Is David Rodigan in it at all?
No.
Because he's the man. I remember bumping into him in the hallowed corridors of the darker place and just being in awe of his voice and his knowledge about reggae because he was I used to commute from Nottingham to London, then back again when I started at Radio 1. And on Capital Radio, David Rodigan was doing this reggae show. And I knew nothing about it other than that he just did the most fantastic program. I listened to it until you could no longer get Capital Radio going up the M1. Harder Than the Rock. Very good. Okay. So will that be quite difficult to find?
It'll be in independent cinemas. It's not, it's not going to be like Joker Folie à Deux, which is going to be absolutely everywhere. You will have to seek it out. But you can find it easily enough. Google the film and it'll take you to websites that'll tell you where it's playing.